Welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we show you how to build a successful business and to have a life too. We're going to dive into another topic that helps us make more money in less time and to get off the treadmill so we can experience a life of significance. And now, your host and the author of the #1 best-selling business book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, Chuck Blakeman.
Today, I am with Cassie Morris. She is an entrepreneur from Denver, Colorado. Dreaming of entrepreneurship for years, Cassie took her professional experience and used it to pursue her own business, launching Clover Communications and Strategy in 2024, which provides business owners with process analysis and operations consulting. The launch of this business led her to the 3 to 5 Club, where her passion for business and entrepreneurship was supported, and she took the bold step to open Dilly Donut Bar earlier this year, somewhere else in the world. Welcome, Cassie.
Yes.
It's really
Thank you.
There's a lot
Thank you.
to unpack there.
Yes. First of all, the bold step, bold or crazy, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, today we're going to walk around the topic of lifetime goals, what we affectionately refer to as the big why. There's a lot of whys in life, like why should I work and why should I have a family and why should I go to school? But the big why is a very different why. So I'll just lay the foundation for that for people, and then we can get into it. Our understanding of the big why, the lifetime goal, is that it's a goal you can never check off as complete.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something you can keep doing it, and it doesn't have to be a giant goal. It's not like solving poverty, although that could be your goal. It could be a great mom, because you'll never be done. You'll never check that off as complete. A good big why, a good lifetime goal is something you can pick away at. You can do it every day, and then it comes around tomorrow and you do it again. So there's plenty of ways to have a lifetime goal, but it's a goal you'll never complete. You'll never be done with it. It's motivating every day of your life. You wake up and here it is again. I'm going to get out of bed because I want to do this. So I'll just share mine and then I'll stop talking. Mine is to live well by doing good. And I don't mean live well riches wise. I mean live a fulfilled life by doing good in the world around me. So that's my big why. And it was originally 2 pieces of paper, then it was 1 piece, then it was a paragraph, then it was a couple sentences for a few years, and then it finally became live well by doing good. So I don't want people to feel like, oh, well, maybe that's fancy. You don't have to have a fancy big why. You can start with just write down what it is that motivates you every day that's bigger than business, bigger than family, bigger than money, bigger than time. And we'll go from there. So let's jump into yours. First of all, what's attractive to you before you even tell us what your big why is? What's attractive to you about this idea of a lifetime goal? I think you might have gotten a hold of this in our 3 to 5 clubs, but what's attractive?
Definitely. What drew me in, I was really taken back when I heard you speak about the big why being something you can never truly accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Because I came from sales and there's always the big why, but the big why for everybody in real estate was like a big car or a big house and a fast car and time freedom, financial freedom. You always hear that. And this idea of going deeper to something that you'll never really fully satisfy to keep you driven was just really eye-opening to me. But it's something like you've said that you kind of attain it a little each day. You get a piece of it, maybe, it keeps you going. And that was really attractive to me.
Well, it was to me too. And I wish I'd have gotten this earlier on. I've had people say, boy, in fact, I had someone say 2 days ago, I wish I'd have met you earlier in life. And I said, I wish I'd have met me earlier in life too. Because I had all this stuff figured out. But yeah, that was one of the things that came to me when I got to where I realized I wanted to live every day for one thing, to live well by doing good. And it really did change a lot. It put so many things in different perspectives. So how did that change your perspective?
It took things deeper for me versus just wanting these superficial, goals that really aren't, to be honest, they're not good enough to really drive me because I don't really need a big fancy car, house and all that when I really think about it. But living an authentic life where I'm truly free to be me in everything that I do, that's, that drives me more than just the superficial goals.
And that's really a great example of what this overarching motivation that comes from knowing what it is you want out of life. Mark Twain never said this, but everybody says Mark Twain said this. I don't care. It really is a great thing. Mark Twain supposedly said, and did not, the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care who said it. That is so pertinent. And you just illuminated that when you figured out your big why, it made everything else small. It's like,
Yeah.
of course I have to pay my mortgage. And of course I have to build a business. And of course I have to be a good mom. And, because I've got this thing that's so much bigger that all those things, unless I do those little things, I can't get to that big one. So it puts them in the right perspective. I love that you alliterated that up front. So what is your big why?
Well, I'm still working on the tweaking it down. Like you said,
Sure.
it started with this,
We'll always be
but
thinking.
yeah, but right now it's to live a healthy, balanced life of freedom and authenticity. Because I struggled so long with not feeling like my authentic self in everything I do, and realizing that that's truly who I need to tap into to get my day done. And when you get to be authentic, that's where true freedom comes. So I want financial freedom, I want time freedom, but getting to be me in every situation is real freedom. And I'm an entrepreneur, and finally taking this step, that's part of it, and all the grief that comes with it and all the joy as well, and being okay with all of that.
Yeah, that I hear that a lot from people who are building businesses, and I want to develop a bumper sticker like the Jeep sticker that says, "It's a Jeep thing. You wouldn't understand."
Yeah.
I want a bumper sticker that says, "It's a business owner thing. You wouldn't understand."
Yes.
And that's not a ding. It's just, it is so different than working in corporate America. It builds completely different muscles, and it brings
Yes.
all kinds of different joy and all kinds of different sorrows.
Yeah.
It's a business owner thing. You wouldn't understand. I love that you've got that a grasp on it. I also love that you're seeing your big why as a journey. I think the big why is something that probably never changes, but we get better at expressing it. It may change.
Yes.
I think the way we apply it changes. I could be a truck driver and live well by doing good. I could throw pottery, and I could intern or mentor with young kids. All of that would be different ways. I find myself doing it differently all the time. So how did you come to what you have right now as your best iteration of your big why? What are some things that helped you get there?
Showing up for a 3 to 5 club, making me face it and think about it.
Before you go any farther, for people who don't know what in the world that is,
Yes.
it's a business owner mastermind that we do twice a month across the US and really around the world. And one of the modules that we go through, we got 20 some modules of fundamentals of business. And one of them is the big why. So you showed up,
Yes.
you learned the big why in
Yeah.
club.
Yes. And kind of having this click, or of accountability to myself. What I loved about the club and having community is that there's a level of accountability there, but it's not that everybody's looking at you going, oh, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. It's they're there to encourage you to be accountable to yourself. And showing up for myself has always been a struggle. I'm really good at showing up for everybody else, but having to be accountable to myself and force myself to really think about what drives me each day, really, it's helped me to develop this. And it really is wanting to just be free of the worries that come with everything, because I just know that if we just keep moving forward and you keep tweaking your plan and you keep taking it in and being okay with the bad, with the good, and that it's going to be okay. And you really can just find that comfort zone where you get to be yourself in any situation, even if it's, not the most ideal. I hope that answered your question.
The word that comes to mind for the last minute of what you shared, minute and a half, clarity.
Yeah.
With clarity comes power.
Yes.
When your vision is clear, your decisions are easy. So what's my vision? I want freedom. I want authenticity. I want to be in healthy, balanced life. That's what I know that I want. That's clarity. And then we get to bounce everything that comes at us over that. One of the guys that got his big why through 3 to 5 Club and just walking through life with all of us, he came to me one day and said, I got my big why. And I said, how do I know? Or how do you know? And he said, because it has me, which is
Oh,
powerful. But then I wanted to test it. Well, that's cute. That sounds powerful. But how do you know it has you? And he said this, you know, it has me because every morning I get up now and I ask myself, how can I live this out today? Who will I meet? And what will I do that will help me live this big way out? That's clarity, and that makes your
yeah.
everyday decisions easy. So I hear that in your voice that has given you that clarity about this is what I want. If I don't get anything else this week, this month, this year, I want authenticity. I want to have a healthy freedom, healthy, balanced life, and I want freedom.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And once we have that, then how becomes a question. I would say this: why is the least asked, most important question in business? And then how is actually a lot, we love how. How do I get there, and how do I get this, and how do I get a loan? We just love,
Yes.
but we're scared of, well, why don't we use why? It's not just scared, but why don't we ask why in business? What are some things you found that kept you from asking why? All across the board.
Being the mind that I am and loving process and loving, just a smooth operation, that's where my mind goes is
Yeah,
how
that's
are we
all
going to,
house stuff. That's
yeah,
house
how are we
stuff.
going to make this happen? How are we going to get it done? What's the plan? What's the process? And I think that comes from being a busy person in this day. Just all day, we're like making decisions and how am I going to get from here to there, and just
Yeah,
how am I getting through this day?
we are really business owners. I think everybody is, but big business owners, we have to be good at the doing questions.
Yeah.
And the doing questions are how and where and when, pretty much. How, where, and when.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the others, but who is a little harder, or when is not as easy. It's how, where, and what. We don't
Yeah.
like when because when holds us accountable, and we don't like who because we just rather do this ourselves. It's just
I was going to say, the who is me. What are you talking about? I'm the who.
and then there's multiple reasons why we don't like why. Like one of the reasons I didn't like why was, what if I found out, if I was really authentic with myself and I found out that my why was in conflict with the
Hmm.
way I was living my life or the kind of business I was in? What if? Oh my goodness,
I'm going to say it probably will be.
yeah, well, it could be, but it may not be, but that's no reason to not find it, of course.
No.
We have had
Yeah.
people change careers because most people just find out a way to adjust what they're doing to make it fit their big why. But yeah, so there's so many reasons why we're scared of the question why, or we're just confused by it. The rugged individualist, his answer is, it doesn't matter, man. I'm too busy with what, where, and how. I'm too busy with those 3 questions.
Yeah.
I got to get stuff done. I'm doing stuff. I don't have time for that fuzzy stuff.
Yeah.
The research shows that it's the fuzzy stuff, the things we think of as fuzzy, like why and when and who. Those are the things that really move our business forward when we get utter clarity on them. So I'm
Yeah.
encouraging our listeners to dare to find their big why. We have a workshop, and you can go on 3to5club.com on our resources page and find our workshop and take our workshop, which it's self-led, but it's videos of me and other people, and that's very impactful. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is simply to ask your friends, why do you hang around me? What was your process? There's lots of different ways to get there. We make this way too hard. Well, how
Yeah.
did you find your big why? Probably a little of it was going through the process you found in 3 to 5, but was there anything that stood out in your process of finding your big why?
I was really surprised with what just an emotional and psychological
Ah,
journey it was,
wow.
because I'm guilty of being that rugged individualist. When I read that in your books, I was like, he sees me because I'm like, I'm not going to ask somebody twice. I might not even ask them once. Like, I'm just going to get it done and know that it was done and it was done my way or right or whatever, and it was really an emotional and psychological journey of unwrapping like what is, because like I said, coming from sales, it's very superficial.
It-
Everybody's big why is financial freedom.
yeah,
And then what happens if you reach that?
yeah,
You're not going to be satisfied.
no.
And so just this realization of like this is very emotional. Like I'm having to really dig deep.
So you
And
scared away a bunch of rugged individuals, but hopefully they'll come running right back.
yeah. Right. Don't
Because
be afraid.
I am a recovered rugged individualist, and we don't want to get the emotions or any
No.
other stuff involved. In fact, we think that stuff is standing in our way.
Mm-hmm.
But this invites it in. And if you're in sales, there isn't an entity in the world that doesn't buy emotionally, including the US government. We
Yeah.
are emotional human beings, and we better get in touch with that stuff. And when we do, it drives us in combination with our mental and our cognitive, it drives us so much more strongly than simply trying to cognitively get through things. You mentioned
Yeah.
one other thing a number of times already, that making money wasn't, it didn't get you where you wanted to go, those kinds of things. And it's one of the prime objectives or prime mandates of a big why is that making money is not an empowering vision. And
No.
another one is a goal realized is no longer motivating. So
Absolutely.
you knocked out two of those at once. You said if and when we get to where we have the financial freedom we want, that's actually not going to help. That's what the
No.
research shows.
Yeah.
Money will not make you happy. And once you get there, I met a guy who wanted to have $8 million by the time he was 45. It took him until he was 46. And he said he spent the next 6 months depressed
Oh, wow.
because it was his lifetime goal.
Yeah.
And a goal realized is no longer motivating. Now, what do I give my life to? What if his goal was to solve poverty? He'd need a lot more than $8 million. He'd keep going.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What are some day-to-day ways in which, like my friend who said, I get up every morning saying, how will this work out? What are some ways that you've seen that you've kind of had to maybe realign your business and your life around it? Or maybe at times you really feel like it supported your decision?
I had to become okay with not knowing what I was doing, with
Tough?
not having a perfect plan,
Yep.
um, with making a mistake, and yeah, having to, again, being wired like I am going to do it and I'm going to do it perfectly the first time,
Yeah.
or I've failed. And having I literally pep talks every morning with myself
Nice.
of just, this is part of it. This is all part of it. And I said, I hear your voice almost daily right now going, isn't that fascinating? That taking it all in and being okay with it and moving on from there and course correcting from there and not being devastated, because then you're just going backwards, instead of forward. So it's these daily pep talks of, you're going to fail, you're going to make a mistake, and it's part of it. Tweak your plan and keep moving. So yeah, a lot of pep
Yeah.
talks.
I want to say, as we're talking about these things, we both talked this way. We found our big whys. We didn't create them out of thin air. It's not like I created something that I never had. My realization over the first few years that I did this, really almost right away, was, this is the stuff that motivated me when I was 7.
Yeah.
When I was 9, when I was 11. I was the last of 4 kids. I was the forgotten kid, the invisible child.
Yeah.
And I've always looked out for the underdog
Mm-hmm.
since I was a young kid because I was that. And it took 45 plus years for me to circle back to that and realize that living well by doing good, the major way I do that is I work with small business owners who get the short end of just about every stick.
Yeah.
Government to taxes to regulations to people even trying to figure them out. So you didn't create it out of whole cloth. I'm guessing you are beginning to connect some of the
Yes.
why with, that's where I was when I was 4. So
Yeah.
have you seen any of those realizations yet?
Yeah. I'm starting to see a little of that, especially with working on my initial business of working with business owners. And I feel like I am me in those moments. I'm excited. I have energy. I have ideas because I'm working in a space that lets me be authentically me. And that feels like freedom. And just realizing oh, the reason I was miserable here or there, I mean, granted perspective, but I was trapped, and just seeing like when I'm doing this, oh, I am capable. I am, intelligent because I'm,
Powerful.
yeah, yeah. And going from like, what am I doing with myself, with my life to, oh, I have control. I have choice.
Yeah, and I think one friend of ours, friend of mine that went through this process of finding her big why, she's a very successful psychologist. And she told me that, as we talked about, I'm referring back to what you just said. You said, I felt trapped and I'm learning how to, and now you want freedom.
Yeah.
And you probably didn't have a balanced life if you were trapped. Now you want a balanced life. And you have these other things. You want freedom and authenticity. You weren't allowed to have those when you were trapped. And
Yeah.
she told me that the research on this big why stuff basically shows that our greatest mission, our greatest vision in life, our greatest desire and motivations in life often harken back to our greatest deficits as children.
Mm-hmm.
What did I say? I was invisible. Nobody
Yep.
looked after me. And so what's my manic obsession? I want to get other people to where they are. And then I have to remember to do that as a helper and not as some kind of enabler.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it
Yeah.
comes from, if there was something that you yearned for as a child, it might
Yeah.
be that's what you're playing out today, that you're fixing the world so that other people don't experience that. Well,
Yeah.
we just touched the surface here on this big why stuff, and we went a little over, which is kind of what we want to do sometimes when we get excited on this stuff. How can people get a hold of you to talk to you about your businesses? Because we didn't even talk about Dilly Dally Donut. And I'm guessing that a lot of that came from your big why. And
Yes.
it's not even in the state that you're in. So I'd love people to connect with you and say, can you tell me more about why you opened a donut shop where you don't even live, along with the business you already have? I mean, so many questions unanswered. How
Yeah.
can people get a hold of Cassie so they can continue to talk to you about these things or about your businesses?
Yeah. Well, you can always check out the donut bar. It is in Bozeman, Montana, but that is dillydallydonutbar.com. You can go on there and there's contact information all over the place. And then, my process analysis and operations business, it's Clover Communications and Strategy.com. My contact information's all over there as well. But yeah, I
So
would.
I'll have you back to talk about the bad plan,
Mhm.
Dilly Dally Donut Bar in another state. I'm going to talk about how your bad plan became a good plan. Because we talk about this all the time. You have to start with a bad plan. So we'll
Yes.
have you back. This has been fun, and let's keep going.
Thank you, Chuck. I've had fun too.
Thank you, Cassie.
That wraps up another episode of the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and hit the like button to ensure you are receiving the latest tools you need to grow your business and to get off the treadmill. If you want more information on the 3 to 5 Club, the Crankset Group, or to book Chuck as a business advisor, speaker, or workshop leader, you can contact us at grow@cranksetgroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.